Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Lipstick Leadership Legacy Podcast with JaneTaff the Sage and Deanna Vestal, your career catalyst. This week, we are in the second week of our What's Your Why series with a special guest, Jessica Hunt West. As usual, we jump right into the meat of our discussion. Join us in the conversation.
Because what I'm looking at doing is more so or less coaching and or reaching young ladies, in particular, young men and young ladies, but in particular young ladies, and in particular ladies between the ages of 18 and 25. Now, there's going to be some ladies that fall with, before that bracket and after that bracket. So it's by no means a hard stop, but that is that target range. And those individuals who are kind of really in a place where they're discovering what their purpose is, right? What I've learned is that all of the people around me, from like Shea to, even you, Deanna, I have these connections of people that once they know what they're called to do and purpose to do, I know exactly I have all of these networks that now I can say, okay, you need to go see Shea. Okay, you need to go see Deanna. So, but it is getting them to the point where they understand that purpose, and even more so because of the spiritual nature in which I move, is being able to understand how that aligns with both naturally and spiritually. So I have this group called Inspire that I just started in January of this year, where I'm meeting with those young ladies, and it's essentially coaching sessions. We do vision boards. We do, I teach them how to pray. I teach them how to, dig deep for themselves to uncover what their purpose is. Because until you know what God has, really orchestrated and brought you here to do, you can't begin to put together a map. You can't map out something you don't know, what you're mapping out. So my point is to get them to a place where they know what that is. And then whether or not I'm assisting them in beginning that process or then doing a handoff depends on what it is. There's more things on the spiritual side that will be more in depth, because I'm actually creating a leadership academy. And that leadership academy, though, will be geared towards spiritual gifts. So people who feel they are called in the ministry, who feel they have gifts of the Spirit, how do you nurture, how do you train, how do you equip those gifts? So they'll come into the Leadership Academy to cultivate those gifts. Then there's more of a natural side, where me learning that I am somebody who can inspire and identify and then ignite, but I am not someone who grooms. That's not my responsibility. So, and when I say responsibility, I mean, that's not what God called me to do. So I teach to establish understanding, and then it gets handed off to somebody else to kind of nurture.
Well said. Well said.
So yeah, whether that is, creating your own business, that definitely would be Shea. Kind of in my network right now, whether that is building a corporate career, those are things where, okay, I'm gonna say, okay, let me introduce you to someone named Deanna. She can teach you. Or sometimes along this path, I connect with people whose purpose realign. And so they're already in very professional, developed positions. But because their purpose God has now adjusted their purpose, they're in a place where they're at a beginning of a new season. So they're in the same book, just a different chapter. And so because of that, they're coming full circle to me to initiate that. And so that's even where, we're talking to leaders who are in very strategic places, who now are responsible for reconstructing or redirecting an entire ship, right? Mm-hmm. And like, how do you do that? Where do you start? How do you begin? Let me introduce you to somebody that can help with that. So, I mean, I connect with people at these various different stages. But where more of the coaching really is involved is more on the spiritual side. But from a young age, I was always told I was an igniter. I'm a fire starter. So my job is to initiate, is to ignite, is to get someone to the place where they're ready to take that first step. And then they need somebody who's very detailed that can help them really plan out and initiate that next step.
I think that's really cool. So the other thing that we're really curious about, and I know you only have a few minutes, is we tackled your professional side. That's a lot,
Yes.
and wow, amazing. But for your personal endeavors that you're really trying to grow and expand into,
Yeah.
In talking about what's your why, etc., how did you get, and you did speak about it a little bit because you're exposed to so many people at a certain stage in life, and you're like, you got here somehow.
Yeah.
And that may have triggered, but there's still, I feel there's still more that tapped on your heart that said, it has to be you, Jessica, who does this. So
Yeah.
give us a little bit more about the why you felt deeply called, because I know that's how you feel it's come about.
Yeah.
How you feel deeply called, and what's that underpinning in there that keeps you going in this idea?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm going to start with the latter. What keeps me going is God, only God. There is just way too much else going on. It's supernatural strength. I would say, so I think there's what I found about purpose is there's always patterns in your life that groom you for purpose. So when you start evaluating those patterns, those reoccurring circumstances and issues, you really start to open up yourself to understand what God has called you to do. For me, some of those patterns were from a professional perspective, because everything is both natural and spiritual. If it's happening in natural, it's to train me even spiritually. What I was learning is every job that I was going into, it was chaos that I had to create organization out of. Every single job. Entered in, even jobs that I tried where they told me it was great and everything was, I get in there and it's chaos. So so that was one pattern where I was learning, okay, I always had to take what seemed impossible or seemed scattered to everyone around me and cause it to produce. Then I learned it's the same thing spiritually, where I would have people coming to me and asking, like even naturally, close friends and family. I was always the advice person. I'm the one that they come to for the guidance, for the advice, for the, what do you think about this? But it started happening organically with young ladies around me where they really gravitate towards me and they want to know what I know and teach me and, those kinds of things. And then that's when, as I started to pray, God started to give me ideas and visions and even logos of things to understand where, the directions that he wanted me to move in, and kind of even how all of these thousands of ideas that I told you about earlier, how they all come together and how they're all interconnected and how they build me and build people around me. And they're still all along the same theme, which is definitely uncovering purpose, and then igniting that in you to the point where you're determined to go after it. Because once you have that spark in you, once you're determined, once you're motivated to know where you're going, to me, that sustains you, because you're not satisfied until you're in purpose. When I'm doing things that are outside of my purpose, I'm a mess. I am grouchy, I am irritable, and I don't like life.
Right? That's all of us, I think.
Absolutely, it is. You're very right. It's all of us. But, when you're in that vein, it doesn't mean you're 100% fulfilling it. But when you're walking towards it, your outlook of life is completely different. Even when you're going through difficult situations and circumstances, your outlook, your ability to embrace those challenges is completely different. And so really God just gave me a passion. Once I discovered that for myself, I developed a passion to want others to discover that, because I recognize the difference in me and how I lived and how I felt and how I moved in life once I got to that point.
Right. It's so true. So tell us, you told us your vision about young women, 18 to 24, really finding their purpose. You want to start a nonprofit, which I think is very, very exciting. Are you doing any work right now that you want us to know about, to tell our L3P community?
Yeah.
What could be an easy ask for our L3P community from another amazing woman, yourself, that we can kind of join our spirits together on that?
Yes, excellent. So right now I am definitely doing the Inspire group, where I like to bring in mentors on specific subjects. So definitely anybody within the network that is passionate about a subject matter, it can probably fit into what I do and what I'm putting together. I have the Christian Woman CEO, which was the book, compilation book that I created a chapter in. And that chapter really is geared about that excitement of getting started, like just the first steps. My chapter in particular, I'm not going to tell you how to get to the finish line, but I'm definitely going to tell you how to start feeling like you're starting to take your first steps. Yeah. So that's what that chapter is about. And then I just completed, I was sharing with Deanna that it is, they're currently creating the cover and the 3D graphic for 10 steps to uncovering purpose. So I just finished writing that.
Nice.
And so that book will be ready any day now. And along with that, I am about probably 80 to 90% done with a 45-day devotional.
Fantastic. So how do we, if our community wanted to reach out to you, how would you have them get in touch with you? Do you have a Facebook page, a website, a public email that you would be willing to share? How can we get a hold of you and link up with you?
So I have a website, JessicaWestMinistries.com. And my email is JessicaWestMinistries@gmail.com. So I do try to keep up with products and services and engagements, speaking engagements on my website. I do have a Facebook page, Jessica West Ministries Facebook page, and Instagram account, all under the same, Jessica West Ministries. And they can pretty much follow me on any of those social media platforms, and they'll stay connected. From a professional perspective, if they want to connect, they can connect with me at Jessica on LinkedIn, and that's under Jessica Hunt West. So I'm on most major platforms. I'm not in Snapchat yet, but we're gonna get it together.
You mean you're not doing TikToks?
Oh my gosh, listen, no.
Yeah, but
I need to, but not yet.
I really appreciate that, because, it's not only having a great cause, having a great message, it's being accessible, right? Just like you were talking about your professional world, you are teaching your associates, people who actually work for your company, to be accessible, flexible, open communicators. And that is what you are doing by having all the social media channels available for us to get to you. Because what it sounds like you're really cooking up here is pretty juicy. And, you have a lot of people who are interested in helping young women, because, awesome. We're no longer young women, but that doesn't mean we don't have any value to share.
Absolutely.
Or value to learn.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we're learners and
forever learners.
Yeah, and mentors as well. And so I love that reciprocity in where we are in the stage of life where we are, because we're not done.
Not at all.
We're just simmering and getting really good, right?
Yeah. And you bring up a good point, Jane. I try not to always be spiritual, but I gotta go here because I feel God speaking about it. We're moving into a season where it's not an individual thing anymore. We're gonna see a lot of groups.
Yeah.
So just like in the Bible days, there are groups of prophets. There's going to be groups of companies that all have are like-minded. They each have their own purpose, their own mission, but because they're like-minded, they're going to group together to accomplish great things.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. That is where this season is headed. And in California in particular, there's a lot of growth about to happen in this region.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. You know, before the buzzword was partnership, but that denotes equality, meaning,
Yes.
you know, power and resources, etc. But collaboration is I give what I need to give because that's what I have to give.
Yep.
Right. And so I think the collaborative effort that you are talking about is definitely something. And it's amazing how it came about because the pandemic forced us to give to each other in ways we never thought were our highest values for one another, and rose in, you know, just rising of all that were in that collaborative, you know, not necessarily partnership, but the collaboration. And so it became more powerful, right?
Yeah.
The whole was a bit more than the sum of its parts. And it is truly that.
Yeah, I agree. That's beautiful. Yeah, I really do. This pandemic taught us how I think we were, as a culture, we were selfish. It was about me climbing to the top. And this pandemic forced us to say, if we're going to get there, we got to get there together.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Such a good ending. Anything else? We know you were available till 6:30. We have 3 minutes overtime. I'm so sorry about that.
That's all right.
But what a pleasure. What a pleasure to talk with you again and really let you talk about your passions. It sounds like you're just as passionate about your paid professional position as you are about what God has put on your heart to be on mission about.
Absolutely. I really am. And I do believe that my paid employment is really a stepping stone for ultimately what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. Right. And so I'm learning a lot just from a business perspective, from, you know, understanding just kind of the employment world, corporate world, workforce, all of those things, because it's going to be needed for what I'm doing within this nonprofit. I see the nonprofit being hubs. So it'll go outside of California. Once we create it in California, we'll do the same thing in a lot of urban major cities across the country. Nice. So I'm really excited to get the project off the ground. I'm really at a point where I'm ready to really kind of move full throttle ahead. So I just got the logo created, and like I'm doing the paperwork. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What a confidence builder when you can know for sure that your work in corporate America can be applied to your vision for expanding your projects from mind to matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and just even in being able to coach these young people, I had to be in the world. I had to understand it. Because you can't help them navigate through something that you don't comprehend. So there really was a method to God's madness. I think that I'm really looking to connect to purpose-driven people that where we can really help one another in our areas of expertise and passions. And so I definitely need to continue to connect with individuals like yourself and be able to, build empires. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
You got that right.
Because of our conversation, the way it started, it flowed, and is tying up. You're a why chick. It's all about why for you. You have built a business and a team on why. Yeah. So I'd like for you to, I'm going to send you an email invite to our book discussion on the last Thursday of this month. And if you are in town, I would love for you to reserve some time. It's an hour and a half to converse with us and really explore deeper, because you're over here chatting it up with us and ministering at the same time. inspiring. Hey, I'm not a young girl anymore, but I come across from this discussion inspired.
Yeah, awesome.
So thank you. Yes, I'd love to share you with our small group.
Yeah, send it to me. Let me know. And if I'm in town, I'll definitely attend.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for giving us your time tonight.
Thank you for yours. It was a pleasure speaking with you all.
All right. Well, you have a good evening. Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.